What's up, Church Media Pros? Today I want to talk about how to troubleshoot your live stream when using ATEM switchers. Check it out. Welcome back to Church Media Pro. My name is Aaron Ward, and on this channel we talk about all things church media production and advertising. And this episode is brought to you by Friedrichs Coffee, guys. If you're into coffee and media production just like I am, go over to friedrichscoffee.com. Order yourself a 12-ounce bag of freshly roasted to order, in fact, doesn't sit on a shelf, coffee, specialty coffee, flavored coffee, decaf. There's tea, there's coffee brewing items over there, guys. Check it out. Any purchases that you make on their website does help me run this channel, guys, and I would appreciate if you headed over there and supported this channel. But to get into our topic today, I want to show you how to troubleshoot your live stream, anything beyond your, if you're using a ATEM system, a BlackMagic ATEM switcher of any sort. These are the things to check into when you are needing to troubleshoot, when you're not getting a good stream or not getting any picture. These are the things to check out. So let's jump into my screen. I've got the ATEM software control pulled up here. First of all, guys, if you don't see this, it means that you are not connected properly to your ATEM device. Now, I am actually in my office down the street from my church, but I'm on the same network because we beam our Wi-Fi signal, our Ethernet signal over point to point. So I'm able to connect to my church's ATEM right now. I'm not going to mess with this too much. I know there's nothing going on at the church, but I just want to, I don't know, I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm just going to keep my hands off it for the most part. But I do want to show you some things. First of all, if you don't see this, go up to connections and check your connections. Make sure your IP addresses are correct. Sometimes there's a connection, there's an ATEM setup here. There's you can go to the ATEM switcher name. We do have a couple of those that aren't popping up right now, but the manual IP address is what I'm the reason why I'm able to connect via our point-to-point system here. So hit connect if you're not connected. If it doesn't show up, make sure that you have a USB cable directly to your ATEM. The most used computer that you have on your network or in your system should always have a USB to your switcher so that you can manually do any sort of switching and software updates and these sorts of things. Sometimes you'll open this up and it'll say, hey, we need to update your firmware right now. And that can be a sort of a panic situation. Make sure to open this up, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour if you can before your service to make sure these things are all set up and ready to go. And now, before I even talk about troubleshooting too much, I want to make sure that you know that there's a way to save your settings, guys. So we use a Luma Key. We use ProPresenter as our key and fill source so we can get our lyrics underneath, or overlaid on our worship set and our notes from our messages overlaid. So if you want to check out how to do that, I have another video, and I'll link that in the description below. But to do that, you have to have this on-air button on so that you have your Luma Key show up. And we're doing an upstream key rather than a downstream key. So this is where you would put the upstream key. If you had a downstream key, you could do these on-airs back here. But you'll want to have whatever fill and key source ready to go. This is our ProPresenter feed right here that goes to be those Luma Key overlays. So one thing you can do is go to File and Save, and then Save As, and this is the best way to do it because this will not only save all your camera inputs and your labeling, guys. We have a ProPresenter, we have a front of house camera, we have a couple rovers, we have wide and side cameras as well. And then also you want to notice that we have none of our cameras are sending audio. We're sending audio via XLR actually, and I can take this down too and turn that off because it's not necessary. But we're using our XLRs from an X32 mixer in the same room as our switcher, and it's going in XLR, and then you just have your master up as well. I could turn this off, and then you can go and File, save as, and then anytime you have like a power outage or you need to cycle the power on your switcher, it's a good idea to go up here, File, and hit Restore, and then it'll give you, you know, those save files are like XMLs or something on wherever you want to save them, and then you can recall them through the restore process. So that's the best thing to do when you have, you know, a power outage, is just to check that first, because sometimes you'll reopen this and everything will be turned on. You might hear some audio from your cameras, which you don't want typically, unless you're sending a mixer feed to your camera and running your audio into your ATEM through an HDMI cord or SDI. I would highly recommend just turning them all off and sending a dedicated mix from a mixer through an XLR into the ATEM, especially if you have an ATEM that has XLR inputs like the one we have, we have the 4K Pro. And then yeah, so if this is popping up and you don't see a video, you know, if you have we have two ATEMs, we have each one of them with a monitor out going, you know, the multi-view, so that we can see everybody, you know, all the cameras, multi-views, all the program and preview guys. But still, if you're not seeing anything on your screens, the next thing to do is check your connections. So go to your ATEM, make sure all the physical connections are properly set. It can be a mess back there, guys. Try to do some cable management as best as possible, but I do recommend having it in a place where that you can check to make sure all the connections are not, you know, halfway disconnected or need to be just adjusted or reconnected. Sometimes just resetting a connection, pulling out an HDMI and plugging it back in will resync things, which is helpful. Also on our specific, especially the rack mounted ATEMs, guys, cycling power it happens fairly often, especially as your ATEMs get older. You'll want to cycle the power. They will shut off due to heat. That's been an issue that I've had in the past. You know, try to give your ATEMs, especially if you have more than one of them, give them a little space between each other. Maybe run a fan back there. They do have internal fans, but they can run super hot, and they will shut down if the power gets, or the heat gets too much. So a lot of the times, my first thing, if I see no video on either the preview monitor or my program monitor, or my projectors or my live stream, I will just power cycle that ATEM first and foremost. So make sure to check your streams before they go to Facebook and YouTube or your website. You know, ahead of time. Make sure before you even go live that you're getting video to a program monitor that you can see physically. And then the next thing to do is, if you don't see video there, just pull out the plug, wait a couple seconds, let it cool down, and then plug it back in. And then that's where going to File and then Restore is super important, because having that restore file, you know that everything's set correctly. In fact, that will even save these ProPresenter and the key settings for your lyrics overlays and these sorts of things. It'll save all your button pushes. The on-air button will be pushed in if you left it on when you saved, and your current program and preview settings will be also set, as well as your audio. So those are the things that I recommend first thing that you do. Now, if audio isn't working, check your physical connections again, but also go to your mixer, go to make sure you're getting audio, from your mixer. Maybe on our particular mixer, we don't, because of copyright purposes, we will turn down our master fader, which sends the audio to our ATEM. We'll turn that down, but we'll have our speakers turned up on an aux. So you may hear audio coming out of your speakers, through, so you can monitor it, but make sure that you have your master all the way up so that you can actually get audio to your stream. And it's good to be able to see. We have a audio or a BlackMagic recorder on top of our rack where we have the ATEM that actually has audio meters on it, so that we can see exactly what we're looking at as far as peaking and these sorts of things as well. So it's good to have a visual representation of the audio not just the video, post mix, so that you can tell if you're getting a picture for one and audio for two. And those are super recommended things. I know not everybody can afford to have that sort of backup, but when you're live streaming, it's so important to have that visual feedback of what's going on before you even go live. Because once you go live, especially to Facebook and Instagram, if your stream is not working properly, people are already joining your stream. If you have it, scheduled like through Resi, if it's already scheduled, people are joining it, and it might just be a black screen if you don't have any video going to your encoder. So one thing to check before then is, if you're using Resi, get on to the control.io, the Resi portal there, to make sure that you can see a video format or a video in the preview window before you go live. That's a great thing to check. We don't do that all the time, guys, because Resi is so good at what they do. They typically, as long as we have video up on our monitor screen in post mix in our control room, we know that Resi's probably got it picked up as well. But if you want to double check, you can go into Resi, you can go into the preview window in your events tab and make sure it's still there. So one last thing that I want to go over is just to be calm, guys. The last thing you want to do is freak out. Occasionally you'll have a stream go live and it'll go down, and especially if it's going to Facebook and YouTube, you'll have to redirect your traffic to another stream. So once YouTube goes down, it'll shut down that stream. When you start a new stream, it'll be on a different link. Make sure you communicate beforehand with your audience. Send YouTube, send Facebook a message from your church's login saying, hey guys, we're having some technical issues, and be calm in this. Please be aware that we are restarting the stream, and to refresh your notifications, make sure that they're subscribing to your channel so that they do get the notifications when you do start a new stream. Be proactive about these things. And then one last thing to think about when you're live streaming as well is to give more information in the description below your YouTube and in the text that you have in Facebook, to make sure that they have places for them to give. Do your giving links in your description. Give a little a hello message, a nice welcome to our church, welcome to our online campus, and then give relevant links beyond giving. Here's our website. Here's, if you need care, here's the link there. These are upcoming events. We have a women's event coming up. We have a men's event coming up. We have we have baptisms coming up, baby dedications, these sorts of things. Make sure that you're using these descriptions for more information for people to go do after they've watched the stream, or while they're watching the stream, so that there's some interaction as if they were a part of your church family. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Be calm first, cycle the power second, and then check your physical connections, and always be connected from your main computer that you use in your live streaming environment to USB to your ATEM, to make sure you have a strong connection and that you can do any updates that are necessary. And with that, God bless you, and thank you very much for watching.